Oh, there you are, Cara. We're just going to get started now. We're going to kick off. Okay, well, welcome to the Ratify community meeting. We got some agenda items today to walk through that are kind of top of mind. One is that we noticed that on the 1.0 Alpha 1 release, we published the chart, but we published the chart before the fix was in. So that's why there's a number of issues up there that, or at least one anyway, where the demo atomic mode doesn't actually work. And so when I went to go push a 1.01 alpha up there yesterday, I also did not PR the version number update. And so that's why that draft was up. If you saw that flash of the draft, you were probably like, what is this? And then that doesn't fix it. And so then talking with Eric, we were like, why don't we just try and roll some of these PRs in today if we can, and then just do a newer version release. So that's kind of what we're trying to target right now. And we hit some snags with the end-to-end tests. And I went ahead and just bumped I just submitted a PR, and Eric merged the dependency updates for the test framework, which I think will help a little potentially with some of the race condition stuff we had, but we haven't been able to get I haven't rerun the test. I mean, because this is pretty fresh on it yet. And I know, Eric, you said you made some changes to the way that the tests run from your PR there. Did you want to comment on that briefly?
Yeah. So when we first launched the chart for Ratify, we launched with just the one constraint template and constraint that we had, which was just the kind of if true one. And the only reason we launched with it the way it is, where the constraint is not even in the chart, is just due to Helm not being able to, you don't have any control over the order in which Helm applies things, and you need the template to be applied before the constraint. So that's why it was the way it was, so that the chart was as batteries included as it could be. However, similar to like Gatekeeper, where it doesn't ship with the constraint templates and constraints turned on, you do that after you install it. I sort of changed Ratify to be similar to that, and then started the initial set of like the library of constraint templates and sample constraints for those that we could allow users to apply. And in doing so, since that's removed, now the test is what's responsible for adding the constraint template. And after doing that, it seems like there's some conditions where we try to apply the constraint too quickly after applying the template. And so it hasn't had time to settle in Gatekeeper before our constraint application shows up. And then it says, well, I don't have any templates for the constraint that you're applying. And so I've had a test failure due to that. So I'm going to have to look and see if there's any way to, wait on that, or be smarter about, letting Gatekeeper settle on new templates before trying to apply the constraint for it. Or, we can do what we've been doing, which is just the fact that, if you give it enough time, like if you wait a couple seconds, you're probably pretty safe. And I think that's where we're at right now, because the template would go in with the rest of the chart, and there was enough latency there that it was never a problem. But technically it was always a problem. It's just more apparent now. So I'll see what we can do about that. But the quickest thing would probably just to be to add a sleep, so that test pass, and then we can get at least this functionality merged in, because this represents, it's been sitting for a little while, and it represents a large shift that probably be helpful for people. So just gonna move to unblock that and get that merged in.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, and I'm fine if we have to. If the updates, because the depths that we just merged were kind of old, and if that doesn't do it, I mean, I think as a temporary thing, it's fine, because we're talking testing for a sleep. I mean, I'm okay with that, but yeah. And then I think yeah, we were gonna try and move to Susan's PR and see if we can do that one. But for now, I'd love to try and, I mean, my target is to try and get a release today or tomorrow, so that we can kind of at least unblock the issues with the TLS stuff. So yeah. Any comments or questions on that, Sajay or all right.
No, sounds good. I think there are a bunch of depend-about PRs that we can just merge, right? Jimmy tried out the AWS one.
Yep.
Let's just go clean that up.
Yep.
Just a button pushing exercise.
Yep.
Yeah, I approved them earlier today, but I was just gonna put them there so I could say if anyone, speak now or forever hold your peace in the weekly. So you can go through and
the only one that for sure is not going to work, and I filed an issue on this because it is the actual artifact, the res artifact updates. I don't know. I have not looked into that issue at all, but obviously there's something there that is causing a problem. I mean, Sanjay, maybe you would know this since you're more deep in that artifact spec zone.
Yeah, that's a minor change. I think it should be okay, but Akash will maybe come back after his on call to probably merge that in just to validate it. But I think
it's not super like pressing or anything. It's just, I mean, obviously something would be good to just tweak if hopefully that's all it is. Yeah.
Right. It's just a minor, I think the response object or something like that, which we don't consume also. And they released a new one, so it's more like just consume the fields in. Okay. So are you okay merging 255 right now? Sure.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Just merge there's 3 of them, right? But I guess, there's 255, 252, 251, right? If you're saying you already got the thumbs up from Jimmy on those, then let's just go ahead and move them.
Do you want me to share or do you want to share? I'm okay either way.
I mean, if you want to click the button, you can share.
But the host needs to enable sharing. So I'll click the button.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry. Let me.
It's merged.
Okay. Well, then, it's all good.
Right.
You got 255. Yeah. So then it's 252 and 251.
For one more for the TLS issue, for now, would you be okay with us just snap into 381 and seeing if that, because the TLS stuff was added in 3.9. So if we just add a tag for 381 for now, and then we can add an issue to introduce support for TLS, then we'd be able to merge this stuff today, and then we can fix that in the next iteration.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm open to that, but I would rather disable the TLS stuff, which is what we have, and then continue onward with the 3.9 charts, because there may be other things that because effectively, right, if we go to 3.81, the TLS is disabled, right? It still doesn't exist. So right. In my mind, I would rather do the disable TLS and stay on the latest version of the gatekeeper chart. And then that way we catch other problems like this as they come up. Then just stay fixed on the old one and then hit who knows how many issues later, right?
Is it just like a flag thing?
Yeah. So Susan,
okay.
Susan already disabled it, right? And so it's basically fixed. It's just that we found out that issue after the release was out, and I don't know. I'd have to go back in retro, like why we did not catch that with the end-to-end tests. But yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be at least once we do a new release and we bump the version numbers, it should no longer exist, those issues.
I see. Okay, because my PR action failed with that issue, so I guess maybe I just have to rebase to fix that. Because I saw that in the logs for my PR, so your
PR without a rebase would fail because your you didn't have the fix that Susan had into your
Okay.
branch. It should work
Okay.
now. If it doesn't now, then yeah, like let's figure that out and let's talk about it.
Okay, so I'll do a rebase. I'll introduce some delay, and then hopefully that solves all my problems. Cool. And then Kara, I don't know if you guys got a chance to look at that. I mean, it's been there for a little bit, but I was hoping that this might address some of the stuff that you guys were asking about with respect to policy authoring.
Yes. The short answer is yes, we've had a chance to look. We're actually currently revisiting some design documents to prepare and share with the group. Had a meeting with y'all, sorry, last week. So 2 weeks ago, I don't even know, time flies, but no, the pass through, it definitely looks like it'll be good and unblock a lot of our initial concerns. Just to clarify, so if this gatekeeper that's in AKS deployed as part of the add-on have the TLS issue, or would this be a Ratify thing specific and not something that would need to be configured on the gatekeeper side of things? I'm circling back to your TLS discussion. Sorry.
So this is a question as per the way that the managed AKS gatekeeper add-on is deployed?
Probably, which if I need to take another route, I can do.
Okay. I can probably ping you and share more about how that works. Yeah,
that's fine. But if customers were installing and running Gatekeeper on their own, would this be something that they would need to know about?
Yes, since the TLS, until Ratify has proper support for this, if the external data validation, TLS validation is on by default in the Gatekeeper deployment, then yeah, this would trip them.
Okay. That is all I need to know. Thank you very much. I can add a note for our purposes.
Yeah, we noticed, I noticed Sajay, and this is just kind of related, but I noticed Sajay, you had a issue from quite a long time ago around Helm charts and the desire to package the Helm charts like together. There's pros and cons. I mean, I'm kind of more of the general opinion like that it would be good to separate the Gatekeeper install from the Ratify part, because one, typically people like, if you're going to do Gatekeeper, like you probably like have Gatekeeper installed and configured already in some capacity. And then two, like I also think, what we're seeing here is also a good way to know the problem is in Gatekeeper and not somewhere else, because once you bundle those together, you start to, it may become, unsure of, is it a Gatekeeper problem or is it a Ratify, install connection problem? So I don't know, that's just my opinion though.
I think my take was the production charts, like people want to consume, have to be broken up, like we said, but maybe giving a demo chart that people can quickly run and validate, that can still be unified without just reducing the friction to try it out, right? I think that's where I was going with. I'm leaning towards having them composable somehow, but the getting started should not require you to install like 5 charts to get started. That's it.
Yeah. I think there's just 2, right? So, but yeah, that makes sense for like a demo kind of thing. Maybe just to save a step anyway, and then version lock. If I think because we already have 2 charts up there. One is the combo, which it hasn't been updated in 4 months.
Right, and I think the other thing is that, ideally, people should not just take the chart and run as is from a supply chain standpoint, right? You want them to get the actual image or build the image themselves. So there's going to be some amount of tweaking that needs to happen, but If the basic charts are composable and we clearly know that, okay, run this and then run this, that's fine. I don't have a strong opinion on that. It's fine.
Yeah. And my PR actually, that other chart you're referencing, my PR actually removes that. It sort of only existed. For our quick start, we borrow the constraint out of there. So it's not really used other than just housing that one constraint that we have people install. So that's we're moving, or at least this PR moves away from that.
So just to summarize, I'm still not following what's the next steps? What are we planning to do? Like, is there a specific issue that we can get unblocked first, and then?
So I think that the plan of action right now is to go ahead and we've merged, let's say, all the AWS dependent bot ones, and then ideally if we can unblock Eric's PR today, then we go ahead and release let's say 1.1.0 alpha release, and then make sure obviously that we update the version number for the chart along with that release, and that should fix the issue on the atomic stuff in the TLS, because the chart has the fix in it.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I know, like, the goal, just talking with Eric yesterday, is to just try and get Susan's, after we get this over this, to get Susan's PR merged, unless we find any major blockers, and if not, then we'll get that merged. We could release a 1.2 or whatever, and at that point we're kind of caught up with all the kind of PRs that are out there lingering. So yeah.
All right. So I think the other one for discuss. So what's next on the agenda before I?
Yeah. So I think that the thing I wanted to talk at least is just briefly the TLS, which I think obviously we're not gonna do that right now. But I just wanted to have a general idea, because once you add TLS, now you introduce certificates and a lot of other things, and that becomes a whole different kind of deal for a number of angles, right? I mean, obviously you could do the self-sign thing, but that's not ideal. And so, there's a decision on which cert or certs we use, and then there's a decision on which type of auth that we might want to use, because there's a client base, a server base, or a mutual TLS, right? And if we have a preference on any of those yet, I don't know. I don't have any strong thoughts. I just know that's going to be, I mean, a chunk of work. And in general, ideally, if we cannot use, self-signed certs, that'd be good, but I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm leaning towards looking at whatever the default template for Gatekeeper is, because my thinking is if they already have a setup to talk with other components using that model in Gatekeeper, we just kind of follow along, right? Because this is the only place where TLS comes in, or MTLS comes in, with the external data provider. So do we know what the default template for Gatekeeper does right now? It sounds like it's MTLS right now. Or that's what Sartak was saying, right? Like
Right. Yeah, and that's, I mean, I posted the second link. It's the same issue, but his comment, right, which has links to the docs. I mean, we didn't do anything. I mean, you could see when we install the Gatekeeper chart, we're not specifying those switches by default. So it looks like enabled by default. I don't know if they're going to change that or not, because everybody who uses 3.9.0 is going to now hit this problem unless they disable it, right? I'm not sure if that was thought out or not, but yeah.
So Gatekeeper sends the cert over according to the docs, and we need to publish. So what does Ratify need to publish? What does the consumer or the endpoint need to publish? Does it need to register this to Gatekeeper, or is it like a cert that somehow Gatekeeper trusts?
Yeah, I can just share my screen. So there's kind of right, a number of prereqs here, and then you have, okay, you can use your own, or here's the steps to do with a self-signed. And then from there you decide, right, how which version you want, right? So hold on, I thought it had, yeah, like I said, there's a client-based, a server-based, and there's a mutual. And I don't know if this was the page or not. I think it is.
The README has examples, I think.
The README is up top. Oh, here we go. Maybe I was way too far.
Oh yeah, Kara posted it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So here they have like the create client server off enabled, client off disabled, server off enabled.
So this almost, I mean, this is work. I mean, in the sense we just need to go do it, right? I think we open an issue and we can track it. For now, probably, yes, it's not supported because it just came along with Gatekeeper, and I think we'll queue up the work and do it. I don't see how else we could, but it's blocking because we don't have a way to disable this in Gatekeeper. Is that the problem?
No, we do. Yeah. So that's what I said. It's just, Susan actually put the fix to this in a PR in a PR which was already merged. So,
okay, cool. So
if you look at let's see, it's
so we do need a
1.0 alpha. Yeah, it's
configured in security LS 254.
Yeah, I got confused because all the AWS ones got bumped in between in the dependent bot. So yeah, this is it here. So all it is just, you can see it's just insecure skip TLS verify true.
Okay. So we need to toggle this back on, which is a bunch of work to.
Yeah, no. I think it was just kind of like initial like probing, because obviously we're unblocked right now, but it's just like kind of in terms of designing, with Eric, I discussed a little yesterday on the multiple, the need for having multiple certificates to be configurable without having to like rebuild all of the Ratify, right? So in having an easy way to have a dynamic add, remove certs for Ratify to verify images is a pretty important feature. And so this could potentially play back into that, because now you're talking certs that the customer may potentially, use or not, I don't know. Or if there's a need to like involve that with the deployment, right? So just trying to get a feel for that. And if we want to do full-blown mutual, I mean, obviously that's the most secure way, but that has implications in terms of certificates that we want to use as well, right?
Yeah. Okay, so we need an issue to fix this.
Yeah. Let's see. Example. Yeah, it's over here. Yeah. No, that's fine. So I'll create a new issue on it. I think we have one person who already just filed an issue on the opposite as well, of like, I want it not enabled. So it's where is it? It's support for insecure registries 2 hours ago. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, these are scenarios where people want to get up a cluster quickly within a probably a running secure environment. They don't really care about stuff, right? They just want to run their stuff. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So I think, we just get the next release out. That should at least cover, hopefully, the insecure. Well, this is insecure registries. Yes, this is slightly different, actually.
Yeah, we support this all of our configuration option, like flags that you can put in the JSON, are not documented.
Okay.
So that would probably be something that would help, is, for each plugin, there's all the choices. Because if you just put use HTTP equals true in the Aura's plugin block, I think it just works.
Okay. I'll maybe let you comment on that, since you seem to know where that switch is picked in the code.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Only other thing, and I actually didn't have this on the agenda, but I wanted to just get, I think it's worth discussion, is in the, I have, this is an overhaul for the kind of Notation Azure Key Vault Ratify integration. And I wanted to just know some details around the certificate installation. So do you pull it up here? Yeah, so we have as the requirement here, this command. Obviously the first part, it's pretty straightforward, where we're just downloading the key, but then we do we do a JQ for the certificate name, then we base 64 decode it, then we open SSL X509 and inform dir. So it seems like clearly there's quite a bit going on there, because I see Eric laughing, and I'm sure there's probably more behind this story, but it feels a little non-optimal maybe to me. If I'm just kind of trying to understand what was going on there, because when we look at the actual Azure CLI article, right, this is kind of the steps are maybe a little cleaner, but obviously you're a bit different as well, because you're using a plugin and you're just using a local file store and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll stop.
So if you look at our charts, our Ratify charts and our values, you see that we literally just the Ratify test cert, that value is just the PEM file. Like, it's just the contents of the PEM file. So we're doing some hand wave here to put your cert into the file system. So rather than like having to volume mount or doing workload identity or anything, this document here just does the simplest possible thing that doesn't scale, which is to just take our chart and replace the test, like the test cert that we provide with your cert. So that we ship a cert as part of the chart, so that the quick start works nicely. So that there's not a lot of steps. And so we're kind of shoehorning a real cert into that in this walkthrough. So the right thing to do would be to use one of the other approaches that we support, like volume mounting the certificate. But that's where these come from, is that was we have that test cert. It's something you can override with any other cert, and then it will get plumbed to the right place. And so this was a one-line way to use what exists. But yeah, we should not recommend these steps.
I think, yeah, a volume mount with the CSI driver would be the right thing either way, without using the cert in the chart, right?
Yes. Yeah. In fact, my hope is that at some point I don't know. There's probably mixed opinions. My opinion is that there shouldn't be a random cert in the chart. So, like, even though that means there's no extra steps for the quick start, it means that there's just some random cert that everybody who might install this is installing into their cluster. So anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, and that's part of the refactoring we're talking about, and the design of just having the decouple situation there, where we can easily add, remove, update certs that get noticed on there. So I mean, I'm just trying to think in the short term, if at least for this article if there's any other like maybe ways we want to put on there for now. I mean, obviously this is not an official Azure doc right now, but all the official Azure doc that we have for the notation sign verify build push does link to this at the end, whatever that's worth. So I don't know. Is there any other thoughts in the short term for this one?
You mean about how to
just to get them, yeah, to get somebody going. Because at a bare minimum, I want to actually put some explanation around this, because I think people are going to be like, what are we doing here? You know?
Yeah. So you could I mean, that's the explanation, is that you're essentially dumping out the cert into a environment variable, and then you're putting it directly into the chart. So that is the fastest way to do a quick start.
Do we have documentation on the proper way to do it?
Yes, there's there should be docs for workload identity set up in the docs folder, I believe. And hopefully, otherwise I lied. I'm pretty sure in here there is. Let's see.
I think it's in the AKS specific walkthrough, because I know that we referred to it with setting up workload identity and stuff.
Ratify.
This one?
Go look. Either that or I'm mistaking the ORS auth provider, but I thought I mean, our chart does have options for that.
Yeah, I mean, if there's an option for it in the chart, I mean, to like put your own certificate from a local file store in the Helm chart kind of pushes it to some mounted volume or something. I mean, okay, but
yeah. So if you go to the Ratify charts values.yaml, you'll see the stubbed values there. And I want it, so if you scroll down, you'll see that at the very bottom. Yeah, so that's our test cert that is there. But yeah, so here you see AKB cert config, and you can put 2 certs today, just because the way it's implemented. But this is where you would use like the cluster principle would allow you to volume mount the certificates that you put here, and these would get put into the correct directory in the Ratify container. So this is how you would do it, and I'll go see if I can find a link for the docs for this. But this charts.
Where did the docs go? I mean, I remember we had the AWS. I mean, similar to the AWS write-up we had the full Azure walkthrough also. It's not just ACR. It was using.
Yeah. Let me see.
Yeah, I mean, so the Azure Key Vault integration, does that today require the Azure workload identity integration, or can you do it without that?
I think for Key Vault it uses the cluster principle for the secret CSI driver. So I don't think you need workload identity, but I'd have to confirm.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think if it's not like if it's not a huge overhead, because I know workload identity is a bit of an overhead. I've kind of made that decision. Like I don't in the flow and the walkthrough, I don't want to do that yet, because it's not super streamlined. But at least in terms of the Azure Key Vault, if that's not too bad, I do think it would be worthwhile to do that versus the sleight of hand with the long command there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So let me, I guess we can, we'll have to work on getting those steps to be nice. I'll see if I can find docs that we have. Oh, is this the?
Right. Yeah, I saw this article from a while back. Mm-hmm.
This is the one we need to write then, in that case.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So I think, I think that like this article is kind of getting there, but or maybe could be used as a foundation. But again, it's one thing to just, because we already have the demo atomic thing. I think what I want is a good compromise of like a reasonable, like you could use this in a fashion for real to some extent, right? Obviously you're not gonna do that long cert command on a regular system, right? You're gonna need the key vault integration and
right.
fully sync it and stuff, right?
And so this issue was targeting that. We have a chart that actually uses the workload identity and the key vault CS and the CSI driver. The charts are all there. The docs are missing here.
Well, there's only two charts, right? So maybe you're just saying like the example that uses the chart is there.
Let me show you the templates for. So if you search for the AKV secrets provider is already checked in under the templates. Hold on.
You mean within the chart?
Yeah, under the chart. If you
yeah. So we support it, but we don't have documentation that really tells you about how that works.
Right. Just go in templates. You'll find that. Yep. So there you have the AKV secret provider, which is what you would mount in, and it actually uses the workload identity as well. It's funny that all this got checked in, but we didn't write the docs for this one.
Oh yeah, it does. Client ID must be the blah blah blah. Client workload identity.
Akash kind of like worked on this, so maybe once he's back, we can have him pick up the documentation.
All right. Well, mystery solved. You need workload identity in order to use the cert volume. Okay, that's okay. It would have been sort of weird to use the workload identity to get ORAS, to get registry access, and to use the cluster principal to get the certificates from Key Vault. So I think that makes sense.
Workload identity is the way forward, right? So
right, they deprecate a pod identity and asked us to move to workload identity.
So I get it. So yeah, for now, then I guess we'll keep the thing that's up there. But yeah, we certainly should have some documentation in flow for what it looks like moving forward. I did take a look at because I did talk to Akash, and he did have a doc here that does talk about workload identity integration, which is right here.
Oh, there is an AKS Ratify installation guide. Hold on, below that. Where did that come from?
There's some of our, yeah, I was gonna say part of the problem is some of the documentation exists on
his HackMD.
All right, we need to move this. Okay.
Yep. I mean, this I did look at this already, but it still has the this test cert thing, not and it also is, as you can tell, so I mean it's quite a bit of steps to get the workload identity stuff set up. So
yes, so these were two pieces of work that we did. One is to set up the CSI driver, and the other one to enable the workload identity. So when Akash did the CSI driver, he was using pod identity at one point in time, and then we migrated to workload identity. So that's why it's come up as not end to end. So you're seeing two pieces of it, and to test the workload identity, we just used the other secret instead of actually mounting the CSI driver here. So it's broken, but I think we can merge it somehow. So do you want to prioritize 59, like to get the docs in line?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Then-
that would be good. It's good.
Yeah, and I mean we can whittle all of these down to we can whittle this down to as few steps as possible, but there's going to be a point where it's like, okay, to do this right, there is a minimum number of steps, and whether or not that's an acceptable number of steps for a quick start is, somebody else can decide, but that might end up being a reality.
So, Kara, did you want to discuss anything? I mean,
I do not have anything to discuss today. I just wanted to make sure that I attended. So.
Okay. We could dialogue here. So I'm all good, but if there's anything else that will close up.
None for me, but I'll probably have to run off to go pick up my kids, so I'll probably won't be able to probably be another couple hours before I can get my PR done.
right. That's it then.
Sounds good.
Thank
Alrighty.
you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks all. Bye.